Hello and welcome to Odds on La Liga Matchday 26. This weekend we have many interesting games such as the Sevilla Betis derby and Barcelona Atletico Bilbao Classic. I'm Danail, and together with the Spanish football and betting expert Alvaro Romeo, we will analyze and predict every single game. So, like the video, hit the notification bell and subscribe to YouTube channel to help us grow so we can keep delivering great content to you. Leave your comments below and let us know what are your predictions for this La Liga Matchday 26. And now it's showtime! Hello Alvaro, how are you doing today?
Very well, thank you, Danail. It's been a pleasure to follow the Champions League. It's been really nice, and they've been very exciting games. But now let's put our heads on La Liga. I think that this weekend we have some of the best possible games in La Liga with Barcelona Athletic Club Bilbao, an all-time classic of La Liga, and of course a Sevilla Betis. I mean, a Sevilla derby, Sevilla City derby. So, I cannot wait for this weekend.
Matchday 26 promises to be very exciting, and it will kick off with Friday meeting of Levante Elche. Levante is finally picking up points and follow up their astonishing away win over Atletico Madrid with a draw away to Celta Vigo at the weekend. Elche, meanwhile, returned to winning ways last time out with a 2-1 win over Rayo Vallecano on home soil. While Elche has been in a good form of late, they have only won 2 away games all season, so Levante could pick up another point here.
Yeah, it is a proper 6-pointer for Levante. I think that this game is so important for them. I know that they got a draw against Celta. On Monday, they also beat Atletico de Madrid 10 days ago. But I think that the draw against Celta was kind of disappointing, strangely, because it was a point away from home, and that is always good. But Levante needs 3 points after 3 points after 3 points. Otherwise, they are not going to stay in Primera División. They got 15 points right now, 1-5, and they are 9 points away from safety, which is a lot, considering that Levante this season they've been so bad defensively. And on top of that, they've got a negative head-to-head against many teams. And you know that in La Liga, if you draw on points at the end of the season, it's the head-to-head what matters. For example, Levante has a really bad negative head-to-head with Granada, for example, the team that is 17th on the table right now because they lost against Granada 3-0 in the first half of the season. So, it's difficult for Levante. It's going to be very difficult, and they are facing one of those opponents that they are in a good run. I think that Levante probably put at the beginning of the season their eyes in the calendar and they say, well, we can get 3 points against Elche. In my opinion, Elche was one of the big candidates to go down. But the reality is that Elche are doing very well in 2022. I mean, they've got 29 points, 9 points more than Cadiz, which is the 18th in La Liga. And this year, they are getting results, for example, in places like Santiago Bernabéu, where they got a draw. In the last game, they beat Rayo Vallecano. Rayo Vallecano was probably the breakthrough team of La Liga in the first half of the competition. And then they've got the scorers as well, because Pere Milla and 𝐿𝐭𝐻𝐿 are playing up front in a 4-4-2, and both have scored 7 goals, which is a very good return for a team, of the bottom half of the table. Let's see if 𝐿𝐭𝐻𝐿 plays, because he's doubtful for the game, and it goes without saying that if he plays, Elche has a better chance of winning. Well, I'm going to go for the following markets. I think that over 2 goals is something that we can expect here, because Levante can score goals, but they can also concede goals as well, because they are the worst defense in La Liga. So over 2 goals is quite conservative. That pays 161, or maybe an Asian handicap of plus 0.75 for Elche. That pays 1.63, and it means that if they win, you win. If they draw, you win. And if they lose by 1, you get half a lose. And in this game, I don't want to be adventurous at all, so I'm going to stay here.
Interesting thoughts, yeah. And on Saturday we have Mallorca and Valencia. Mallorca suffered a late defeat to Betis last time out to end a run of 5 back-to-back victories in La Liga. They returned to home soil this weekend, where they have impressively only lost twice all season and have won 3 in a row. Valencia was comfortably beaten 4-1 by Barcelona last time out, and now Elche is winless across their last 7 La Liga fixtures, a run that has seen them drop to 12th in the table and 8 points off European football for next season.
Yeah, I know. Valencia has been disappointing. The only thing that saves Valencia's season so far is the fact that they are involved in the Cup semi-finals. But in La Liga, we expected more from Valencia. The beginning of the season was good. Then some issues started manifesting. Like, for example, the fact that they are not good defensively, the fact that 𝐜𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐶𝐿 being out the goalkeeper means that Valencia doesn't have as much security to guard the goal as they will have with the attachment. Mamardashvili, the second choice goalkeeper for Valencia, he's all right, but he doesn't bring the quality of 𝐜𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐶𝐿, obviously. Then the team has intensity, but sometimes they don't know how to adjust the pressure. They become a little bit too aggressive. I think that Valencia will probably say this season has been all right because we're in the Cup semi-finals, but in the league they expected more. They expected probably be neighboring Champions League positions. The good thing about them is that even against Barcelona the other day, they were losing 3-0. And you had the feeling that Valencia could score at any moment because they got good strikers and good midfielders who can score, like Carlos Soler, for example. And I think that, Valencia can be dangerous. I'm not taking that away from them. When it comes to Mallorca, well, number one, the team is shocked because their best midfielder this season, Ruiz de Galarreta, picked a very bad injury in the game against Betis after a very bad challenge by Víctor Ruiz. Ruiz de Galarreta broke his knee, and this is the third time in his career that the Basque player has broken his knee. It's terrible. It's terrible, I know. They lost to Betis 2-1, by the way. So, for this game, also, I think that considering that Valencia are playing away from home, maybe it's time to be a little bit more conservative than if they played at home, because Valencia are playing away. So I could go for the over 2 goals, as I did in the Levante Elche game. Again, Valencia's defense is not great. Mallorca is going to attack a bit more, obviously, because they are playing at home. That pays 166, but the best value I could find here, the best value bar security or safety net I could find here is the Asian handicap plus 0.25 for Valencia, what I call the decaf double chance. If they win, you win. If they draw, you get half a win. And I like that one. That pays 182.
Yeah, good enough for me as well. And we have Getafe, who headed into the weekend 6 points clear of the bottom three after a draw with relegation rivals Cadiz last time out. Alaves have lost 4 of their last 5 in the Liga and sit second from bottom in the table. They were beaten by Real Madrid, of course, and last round, but they're still 4 points from safety. Getafe is favorite here, having become hard to beat under Sanchez Flores, but they should be looking to take another big step forward towards safety, I think, this weekend.
I think so, Danail. I think that this is a key game for Getafe, and probably they are putting their eyes in this game. They can open a 9 points gap with Alaves if they win, or Alaves, they can reduce or narrow that gap to 3 points, obviously. We know that, but I think Getafe has been really good in 2022. Just a little bit of inside statistics. I mean, Getafe got in La Liga 4 straight wins at home. They beat Osasuna, they beat Real Madrid, they beat Granada, and they beat Levante in their last 4 home games. And they haven't lost a league game at home since the 25th of October. So I think that they have to be considered favorites for this game. They are also scoring a big deal of goals at home. Lately, they have scored 4 goals and 3 goals in the last 2 games at home. So, I think that the stats are backing Getafe to get the 3 points against Alaves. Alaves, in contrast, they have won away only once this season. They have lost their last 6 games away, conceding 19 goals in the process. And I know that they were competitive against Real Madrid the other day, but then in the second half, Real Madrid managed to get a heavy defeat from Alaves. So even if La Guardia, one of the best defenders, is returning, this shouldn't change the bad dynamic of Alaves away from home. So here we are contrasting a great dynamic at home from Getafe and a really bad dynamic of Alaves away from home. So I'm going to go very simply for the following. Getafe to win, that doubles up your bet, that pays 2. Or Getafe to score in both halves, something that they have done recurrently and quite often since 𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐶𝐿 Flores arrived at the club in mid-October. That pays 4, but as I said, maybe that is too speculative for you. I'm telling you, Getafe has done it this season more than once. But anyway, if you want to stay a little bit more conservative and go for a safer bet, go for Getafe to win. That pays 2.
Okay, yeah, it's interesting also to look maybe at the goals market, as you mentioned. And next game is Rayo Vallecano Real Madrid. Vallecano is meeting Real Madrid in the worst possible moment when they lost 4 in a row in La Liga and a winless in total of 6. Meanwhile, Real Madrid took a comfortable 3-0 win over Alaves in the last round and are still 6 points clear at the top. For me, it's interesting why the odds for Real Madrid are so high here. It's about 170 to 175.
Yeah, well, I think that Rayo in 2022 has been very poor, and that's the reason why probably the bookies are expecting Real Madrid to win this game. Rayo haven't won at home in the league in 2022. They drew with Betis at the beginning of the year, but then they have lost at home every single game in the league and in the cup as well, because they lost against Betis in the first leg of the cup semifinals. Rayo are not only being bad at home in 2022, they've been also disappointing away from home. They haven't won a league game in 2022. So I think that that's the reason why maybe Rayo Vallecano is not expected to lay a glove against Real Madrid or to have a chance against Real Madrid. And, on top of that, is Real Madrid the ideal opponent to recover your vital signs? I don't think so. So I think that Rayo Vallecano is probably more likely to lose this game than to get a draw and to win it. Personally, I think that when it comes to Real Madrid, yes, they lost against PSG because Kylian Mbappé did something sensational. But in La Liga, they are doing all right. In La Liga, they are not only topping the table, but they haven't conceded a goal in the last 3 games. That is quite good for Real Madrid, because they have gotten back the defensive solidity. Even at the Parc des Princes, they conceded only 1 goal. So that tells you that in the last 4 games, they have conceded only 1 goal, and it was in the 90th minute from Kylian Mbappé. I mean, that can happen, But generally speaking, the defense has been good, and there are no injury concerns for Real Madrid. They have the full week to train, to rest. I think that maybe Ancelotti can rotate finally, and I'm not talking about changing 1 or 2 players from the usual template of Ancelotti, but maybe making 4 or 5 substitutions. Let's see if he does it, okay? Because this season he hasn't done it, but at the same time, this is the time of the season to start giving a breaker to some players. So maybe Nacho, Lucas Vázquez, Valverde, Camavinga, Eden Hazard can play at the same time. I don't know. That could happen as well. But I see Real Madrid winning here because Rayo in 2022 has been really bad. So Real Madrid to win 171. I like that one. And, Real Madrid haven't conceded in the last 3 games. So last 3 La Liga games. So maybe a win 2-0 for Real Madrid could be good as well. That pays 3. Or Real Madrid to score in both halves, something that I rate better, I like better. That pays 2.62. But as I said before, I think a 171 for Real Madrid to win away is kind of good enough. And then on Sunday games, I'm going to be a little bit more adventurous. But on Saturday, just put the handbrake on, because you never know. Playing at Rayo Vallecano, perhaps it's easy on paper, but then it can present a couple of difficulties along the way.
Yeah, and then we have another Madrid favorite to win their game against Celta Vigo. Atletico must be really disappointed with their Champions League clash with United, which we saw on Wednesday night, because they could have won the game but allowed an equalizer in the 80th minute. Once again, their clean sheet didn't succeed, let's say this way. But now they have a chance to win at home after being upset by Levante in their last hosting. However, Celta Vigo is a tough team to beat at the moment, and we saw that in their last 2 visits here at Wanda Metropolitano, where Celta managed 2 draws.
Yeah, absolutely. Celta has been okay at Atletico de Madrid ground as of late. Celta are in a good unbeaten run, we have to say that, but at the same time, they got 2 disappointing results in the last 2 games. This is very important because Celta could look at themselves and say, we have screwed up a little bit here because they got draws against Cadiz and against Levante, and that is not good for them. Cadiz and Levante are in the bottom half of the table. They are in relegation zone, basically, Cadiz and Levante, and Celta could only draw with them. If they have beaten them, they will be basically neighboring European places, but they are not anymore. Celta are 7 points away from Europe after playing 2 easy games. I don't think that Celta will be able to qualify for Europe next season because they have lost their chance. So they know that they have lost their chance. I think that maybe Celta doesn't play this game with the hunger that Atletico de Madrid plays it, because Celta, they are very far away from relegation, 12 points away from relegation, and they are 7 points away from Europe. So they are a little bit in the middle of the ocean, you know. But Atletico is not. Atletico, I think that they boosted a little bit their confidence after the last 2 games. Against Osasuna, they beat Osasuna 2-0. That was a 3-0 victory for them. And then against Manchester United, they were better than Manchester United. The scoreline or the result was disappointing, yes, because Manchester United scored at the end of the game and it was a draw, but that draw wasn't that bad because the away goal rule doesn't count anymore in the Champions League. I think that the Champions League in general is just giving some extra motivation and confidence back to Atletico de Madrid, and I think that this time they are going to win the game. I really believe that they are going to win it because players like Suarez, for example, the other day didn't play against Manchester United, and probably they are rested and they are eager to show Simeone that they are still top players and they can, probably a player like Suarez has to raise his hand and say, I'm here, I'm ready to play at Old Trafford the second leg, you know? So there are some players who must be very confident. Joao Felix played fantastically against Manchester United.
What a goal.
So self-satisfying. It was beautiful. So I am expecting Atletico to win this game, as I said before. Atletico to win, that pays 162. That is quite conservative. Maybe the halftime, full-time is something that you could be interested in. That means that, and I'm backing home and home, that means that I am backing Atletico to win the first half and to keep the win in the second half. That pays 250.
I watched this game, Atletico and Man United, and I think it was particularly good performance. They were pressing high, they were controlling the game, and the first shot on target, it was a goal. So, you know, football is a game, unlucky game sometimes. And then we move on with a Sunday match between Villarreal and Espanyol. Villarreal is on fire right now, on fine form right now, and then continue that run with impressive performance against Juventus during the week, drawing 1-1 thanks to a deserved Dani Parejo equalizer. Espanyol, meanwhile, picked up a big point on their own last weekend, drawing with title candidates Sevilla. The visitors are likely to leave empty-handed though, with Villarreal really finding their feet in recent weeks, looking as dangerous going forward as they're solid at the back as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, we are on Sunday now, and I say that on Sunday I'm going to be slightly more generous with the odds than on Saturday, because I think that the Saturday games were a little bit tricky. But on Sunday we have really good games to start with, because Villarreal Espanyol is one of those entertaining games that La Liga can offer. Villarreal scores goals at home at the Madrigal or Estadio de la Cerámica. They have been very good this season, and they come after deserving probably better against Juventus because they hit the post against Juve in the first half, and then Dani Parejo scored the equalizer. But I will say that territorially, Villarreal dominated Juventus. Then they didn't create a lot of chances, but I was very disappointed with 𝐬𝐭𝐴 Villarreal, by the way, and this is a novelty, they are finally in European positions. After a season in which they started really poorly, really slowly, but the other day, at the expense of Real Sociedad, they put themselves in the 6th position. So this is big news for me, because I think that Villarreal, finally they are there, and they are climbing, they've been climbing progressively, and they managed to achieve it. Now they have to keep the 6th position. They are scoring goals, by the way. They have scored 42, as many as Barcelona, for example. And of course, the only player who is not joining the scoring feast is Gerard Moreno, who will be still sidelined for this game. When it comes to Espanyol, well, the season is good. We know that they are 9 points away from relegation, which is fantastic. And, at the same time, they are a little bit hit and miss. This is a reality of Espanyol, and of course, if important players like Alex Vidal or Morlanes are not going to be available for this game, as it looks like, well, it's going to be more difficult for them to get points at Villarreal. I'm going to go for the goals market in this game. Why? Because Espanyol has conceded 35 goals. They are leaky, and away from home they have conceded 19 goals, which is quite a lot at this stage of the competition, and Villarreal are scoring goals at Estadio de la Cerámica. So both teams to score 195. Over 2.75 goals doubles up your bet, and over 3 goals pays 238. I like the over 3 goals a lot here. I think that this can happen, but there is another one that I love as well, and it pays pretty much identically, which is Villarreal to score in both halves. They have been doing that at home in La Liga, and that pays 237.
You make my job so easy here. We're giving so many options for our audience to bet. Nothing really to add on to you, but let's move on to the big derby where Sevilla will meet Betis at home, and we will need to keep chase of Real Madrid because they're 6 points away from the top. But Betis are in great form, winning 4 in a row in all competitions, and we are yet to see how this Europa League match will play out because we're recording before it. The meeting with Zenit, it might not happen. We don't know what is the situation right now. But between Sevilla and Betis, there's only 5 points gap. So very, very interesting derby match here.
Super interesting. I think that this game will be tight, even if one team was the 20th and the other one top in La Liga table, because it's a regional, no, not a regional, a city derby. It's been called El Gran Derby lately, even though that thing you wouldn't hear in Sevilla is more something that La Liga as a brand are trying to push, the Gran Derby. So let's try to call it like this, even though I'm telling you, no one calls it El Gran Derby in Spain. Sevilla has a very, very, very big absence, which is the 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐻𝐿 absence. He was sent off against Espanyol for a very silly decision by the referee. He was sent off with a straight red card. And then some other players in the sidelines, like for example, Lucas Ocampos, who is very likely to miss this game. I think that Lucas Ocampos is going to miss it for sure because he got a yellow card. I'm correcting myself. He got a yellow card against Espanyol the other day. And yes, Betis are going to be obviously as well pumping for this game. They lost in the first half of the season. Betis and Sevilla, they are different propositions. I think that Sevilla builds all their structure from the defense, and Betis builds it from the midfielder, because they've got probably some of the best attacking midfielders in La Liga. But both styles are succeeding this season. Sevilla and Betis are still alive in Europe. They are still in Champions League positions. And I think that it is very difficult to predict what's going to happen here. But I am expecting, though, goals in this game. I think that going for the full-time market can be a little bit unpredictable, because these two teams are going to play maybe with a little bit of toxicity, and let me tell you why. Because there was 2 months ago a bottle, not a bottle, sorry, like a flag stick thrown at Joan Jordan, and then the game was suspended. Yeah. And between the fan bases of Betis and Sevilla, there were many controversies. Then even Betis, I think that they didn't behave very well addressing this situation, with Guardado just mocking Joan Jordan a week later after this game. So I really think that the toxicity in this game, or let's call it in another way, the electricity in this game, can affect the full-time result, and therefore I feel myself unable to predict what's going to happen. But I think that goals are going to happen. So both teams to score 190. Looks very good to me.
Yeah, and probably a red card, as you mentioned, because the tension is there, electricity is there for sure. And moving on with the later game that day on Sunday, Real Sociedad and Osasuna. Real Sociedad are 4 points away from European football for next season. They are currently 7th in the table, but they lost their last meeting with Athletic Bilbao, and it was 4-0 actually, heavy defeat. They're also going to play a Europa League match with Leipzig, which at the time of recording we don't know how this plays out, but it will probably affect their once again their fitness. They might be coming tired into this match. And Osasuna, meanwhile, they're also not very convincing lately. Let's say they lost to Atletico Madrid. They're currently 10th in the table. I don't know what to expect in this match, despite the odds being favored for Real Sociedad.
Yeah, the odds are favoring Real Sociedad, of course, because they are higher in the table, because they've got the better players, and because they are still playing in Europe, and therefore, you make this very rapid, quick assumption that Real Sociedad has to be better than Osasuna. I think that Real Sociedad is going through a bad one. They lost their European sixth place last weekend after losing heavily against Athletic Club Bilbao in a regional derby, 4-0. That was a lot. And Real Sociedad crumbled very quickly because in the first half they managed to keep the draw against Athletic Club Bilbao. Even Remiro saved the penalty, the goalkeeper, for Real Sociedad. But then from the 67th minute onwards, they crumbled, they collapsed, and Athletic Club Bilbao scored 4 goals from the 67 minutes until the end of the game. That is something that I would say is not acceptable for a team of the quality of Real Sociedad. Also, they are playing in Europe, and probably they will get to this game slightly tired, because this game probably, if Real Sociedad would have been asked about it, they would have preferred to play on Monday, right? I don't understand why La Liga is just setting this game on Sunday at 6:30. I think Real Sociedad will not have even 72 hours to rest. And, this is the reason why I think that maybe Osasuna can be more energetic than Real Sociedad at the beginning of the game, because they had the whole week to train, and they haven't been involved in any cup competition as of late. So I'm going to go for the first half market, and I'm going to choose the Asian handicap. As I said before, I think Real Sociedad can be leggy at the beginning of the game. So an Asian handicap of plus 0.25 for Osasuna in the first half, that pays 188, and it's what I call the decaf double chance. Again, I mean, if they win, you win, and if they draw, you get half a win. So you can go for it, and bear in mind another thing. If you only took the points achieved away from home, Osasuna will be 4th in La Liga. They've been phenomenal away from home. So maybe it's time to believe in them, at least for 45 minutes.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense as well. What do you say? And the cherry on the cake on Sunday night is another classic, Barcelona Athletic Bilbao. And as we all know, you're a fan of Athletic Bilbao, so I'm pretty sure you'll be rooting for your team. Let's not forget that Barcelona are playing Europa League as well. Tough game against Napoli. We don't know what's... Once again, we record before this Europa League matches, so we don't know how this will play out. But still, both teams are only 5 points from each other in the table currently. I'm not really sure that the odds here tell the story.
Yeah, maybe not. A couple of things before anything. Barcelona is improving. As you said, we don't know what they are going to do against Napoli, but against Valencia the other day, they beat them 4-1. And even though they were not convincing for 90 minutes, there is something, an attribute that Barcelona got themselves in January, which is capitalization of goal opportunities. I mean, in the 2nd of January, I always remember this, and I always remind this to our listeners. They started the football game with Luc de Jong, who was that? 𝐿𝐭𝐿𝐴 and Ilias up front. That is probably a 2nd division attacking force at best. And now they are playing with the likes of Aubameyang, Ferran Torres, Adama Traoré. They've got players up there who can hurt you, even Dembélé, of course, who is playing despite not having extended his contract. So I think that Barcelona can be dangerous now. Of course, I'm not saying they are the perfect team, otherwise they would be in the Champions League, but they are getting more dangerous, and they are scoring the goals. And Aubameyang the other day scored 2+1 goals, because one of them, in my opinion, was a little bit lucky. But anyway, I think that we have to bear that in mind. Then Athletic Club Bilbao, of course, away from home, they are worse than at home. That is something that has always happened with my club. And they haven't won at Barcelona since 2001. Historically, they don't win many games at Barcelona since 2001. That is 21 years already. So I'm going to go for the following. I think Barcelona is going to win this game, but to find the value, you have to go for the Asian handicap -1 for Barcelona. I'm going to back Barcelona this time for that. That pays 213. But I also believe that the goals market can be interesting here. So they over 2.5 goals, that pays 198. And I think that Barcelona are going to attack more, and they are going to attack with wingers, which is why I think that I'm going to go for the corners market. Wingers, in my opinion, many times equate corners. And an Asian handicap corners -2 for Barcelona, that pays 187. So those are my 3 picks.
The notorious corners. It's interesting to see how the game changed. Barcelona, they were famous to running from one flank to another flank without doing any corners or any high balls. But now they totally shifted their play this season.
Necessity, Danail. Necessity. You need to do that if you want to qualify for the Champions League.
Yeah, definitely. And the last fixture of this match day 26 will be Granada and Cadiz. Wow, the Granada in terrible shape right now. 5 straight defeats, unable to win in 7 consecutive games. You know, only 4 points away from the relegation zone. And Cadiz, they're a little bit better maybe in current form. They improved on the table, but they're still within the top bottom 3 with only 20 points to their name. It's going to be very hard to predict, in my opinion, here.
Very hard to predict, but you said something that made me think. You know, it was just an intuition. I mean, Granada hasn't won a game in 2022, and you say that they have been losing games continuously. I mean, how many defeats in a row? It's 5 defeats in a row. Yeah.
Premier League. Primera Division.
But you know what happens there? That at some point those runs get broken, and I think that maybe this is the time to stop that bad run from Granada. So. You know, I think that Granada, they know that this is a proper 6-pointer because Cadiz is immediately below them in the table. There are only 4 points separating Cadiz 18th and Granada 17th. Granada knows that this is their chance. They are playing at Nuevo Los Cármenes at home, and this is their opportunity to put 7 points with the relegation zone, or at least with Cadiz. I think that this time they are not going to screw up. I mean, and statistically, it is more difficult to... How do I put this? I mean, after having lost your last 5 games, it is more likely that you are winning the next one, you know, rather than conceding a 6th straight defeat, especially if you are playing against the team at home.
Of flipping a coin. At some point, it has to be the other side.
Probability, pure probability. And then the profile of Cadiz as well. If this was Real Madrid, probably I wouldn't be telling you this, but it is Cadiz too. So I'm going to back Granada to win here. I think that is good enough, really. Granada to win pays 205, and this is the time for them. And I think that they are going to attack more. Cadiz is rather defensive with Sergio, the new manager. So maybe Granada will attack more as well. Asian handicap corners -1 for Granada. I love this one, personally. That pays 194.
But whatever happens, Alvaro here, I'm really glad that we analyzed all 10 games from match day 26th. And before we wrap it up, let's hear what the Minion has to say for the ACCA.
the Minion is having a coffee just far away from this
but
spot.
He already whispered in your ear, so.
he already told me. He already told me to go for the following: Atletico to win, Barcelona to win, Barcelona Athletic Club Bilbao over 1.5 goals in the second half, and Villarreal Espanyol over 2.5 goals. That pays 10.30. It's about good, eh? The Minion is he's being very generous lately.
Yeah, very generous. 10 times your money. Who gives you that at the moment? Nobody. Not the banks, not cryptocurrency.
Just a little team. Just a little team.
Yeah. Okay, guys, that was all from us. See you soon. Thank you, Alvaro.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, this was all from today's La Liga Matchday 26, analyzed and predicted by Alvaro. If you enjoyed the show, please like it, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell to never miss another show, and share with someone who loves La Liga football. Check out the rest of our YouTube content and follow us on all social media channels, including a podcast. And remember, stay on the right side of the money.